4. It's time, and it has been such a long time since like the last Borderlands online game.
2019 Borderlands 3 was a different world. And then we had Tiny Tina's Wonderlands in 2022, which is not quite as different a world, but still a completely different world.
It has been an age, and I am ready to play Borderlands 4, and I'm hoping, Mike, that you'll play it with me.
Of course.
And also talk about it with me.
Yes, let's do it.
In this video that we are going to call 7 things that I can't wait to see and shoot and loot. Don't forget about loot. In Borderlands 4, brought to you by us and sponsor 2K Games. If you're making a new Borderlands game and you're making the kind of changes that Borderlands 4 is making, and we'll get on to talking about in a minute, then I think actually it makes a lot of sense to take your game and put it on a whole new world.
Yes, so this is the new planet of Kairos, right?
At the end of Borderlands 3, Pandora's moon, Elpis, gets like telepathically teleported away by Lilith.
Yes.
And where it ends up is smashing through the cloaking barrier of the new planet, Kairos. It kind of precipitates like a worldwide revolt, like a revolution, against the bad guy. This is the Timekeeper.
Right.
The Timekeeper, he loves order.
He's got real referee energy, doesn't he? He's the guy who shows up when you're playing football in the field with your mates, wearing the referee kit, bringing his own cards.
Yeah.
I know the sort.
Yeah, he's been mind controlling people, and he's all about order in exactly the opposite way that you, as a Borderlands protagonist, are all about chaos.
Yes. And yet, this new planet, somehow, Claptrap is still around, isn't he?
Of course Claptrap is still around. You're not going to not have Claptrap around.
Bummer.
There's also Mad Moxie and Zane.
Yes.
And like some of your faves. Functionally, whole new world means 4 like big new zones, like seamless zones, as opposed to, you know, the earlier games. They're kind of like open but smaller areas interconnected. Right?
Loading screens and things.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it means functionally, and you know, as a premise, that's the setup for your 4 new Vault Hunters.
Oh, nice.
Who are Rafa, Eamon, Harlow, and Vex, who is my fave. Now, the makers of the game, I don't know if you saw this, like they're on record as saying it's going to have a more grounded tone, like the writing, the story.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this actually. I think the idea of Borderlands telling a bit more of a kind of gritty, grounded sci-fi tale actually really appeals to me. I think one of the things I'm most keen about for this game is the story.
I think it's going to be grounded to a point. I still think it's got to be like a Borderlands story, so it's got to have like that kind of verve and that kind of energy. But I think what they're getting at is like maybe not quite so much toilet humour.
Yeah.
There's a quote. All right. Narrative director Sam Winkler says, "If the word skibbity ships in the game under my watch, I'm going to cry real tears." So that's a guarantee, I would hope, of like no like meme lord humour, which I think is a good idea because that dates so fast. You know, it's not to everyone's taste. And I would suspect, you know, from what I've seen and from what I've played, like you're still gonna get the humour.
But Claptrap's not going to be serious.
Oh, can you imagine?
Sad Trap or something, you know?
Sad Trap.
It would ruin it, you know? Yeah. What excites me is just the idea of like, all right, they want to tell a really compelling story. You know, like, I think for most people who've played Borderlands, like, there have been fun story elements and great characters. Obviously, the characters have always been brilliant. But I don't think you necessarily play Borderlands games for the storyline. I'm a sucker for a good story, and particularly a good sci-fi story. And there's just little hints of, like, almost like horror type elements with people in sort of glass test tubes and stuff with crystals growing out of them and things like that. So I'm curious to find out more and excited to see what this kind of blank slate of a new world offers them.
Yeah, and that marries, I think, quite nicely with the new art style. I mean, maybe you wouldn't call it like an entirely new art style. It still looks like a Borderlands game. But I think if you look closely, it's slightly less stylized, slightly more realistic. I mean, obviously still not photorealistic. It still looks like, you know, Borderlands looks like.
It's got that sketchy, hand-drawn almost.
Yeah, still hand-drawn, still graphic novel, but like slightly more refined, I think, if you can see what I mean.
The characters look amazing. I mean, they always look amazing in these games, but like really, it feels a level above this time.
Yeah. Speaking of those characters, speaking of new characters, Cosplay!
Yes, cosplay.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, so 7 things I want to see in Borderlands 4.
Great outfits.
Let me explain myself. When
Sure.
I say cosplay, I guess what I am, like, in a jokey way trying to get to is, like, I think Borderlands character design, like player character design, is like among the most like iconic, like visually like vibrant in like modern gaming, and I can't wait to see these characters, these new characters, Rafa, Eamon, Harlow, Vex, especially being cosplayed. I mean, you've seen a fair amount of cosplay in your time.
Yes.
And I bet you've seen a good representation of like Borderlands cosplay.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the other week when we were at Gamescom, for example, I saw some amazing where they do the sort of hand-drawn aesthetic, and it just looks incredible.
They're like painting their faces with the kind of like lines, like the kind of hand-drawn lines. And so if they just stand still, it's
like you're looking at a drawing.
Looking at a screenshot. Yeah. So you see a lot of Lilith, a lot of Zane.
I feel like Vex is going to be well represented.
Vex is going to be well represented. If I had to bet, in fact, I've been on Reddit and I think I've seen like a few already.
Yeah.
A few Vex cosplayers already.
Jump of the gun.
She's extremely iconic.
I wish I had the flat stomach to cosplay as Vex, to be honest.
There's a lot of midriffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of midriff, and my midriff is not
Borderlands,
ready for prime time.
What you see game developers, publishers do a fair amount these days is actually release cosplay guides. Have you seen these for games before? Sometimes before the games even come out. And I've seen the cosplay guides for Borderlands 4. Basically, it's like really detailed images of these characters, like from the front, from diagonally, from the back, so that if you are a master craft person cosplayer, you can like get every single detail and get it like screen accurate for your cosplay. So I think that's how serious Borderlands 4 is about this.
I think they always take that stuff really seriously. The fan base for Borderlands is so enormous. That sort of thing is actually super important for the fans to sort of celebrate the game. And I think other things like when with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, when they released a sort of entire tabletop RPG manual for how to play the TTRPG, it's that level of sort of over and above the usual that I think really feeds that fan base.
And talking about cosplay is kind of like a roundabout way of talking about character. So Vex is a siren. You've got to have a siren, and sirens have to look cool and distinctive.
It's the law.
It is the law.
The space
they
law.
have to be stylish. Vex is powered by like supernatural phase energy, and also the color purple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of purple going on.
Like our own Ellen Rose is powered by the colour.
Do you know what? I feel like Vex is very Ellen coded, or Ellen is very
yeah.
Vex coded, because like there's a lot of purple going on. There's some purple in the hair, and also one of her action skills involves having a very large cat that you can pet.
Big kitty.
Which, Ellen, if you're watching, get on that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Rafa. I like the idea of a character. So the idea behind Rafa is he's very relatable because he's a person who grew up in zero gravity and is too weedy to live in the real world, right? And too weak and pathetic.
So he's in like an
So he's in an exosuit, right?
Yeah.
But the exosuit is built by TDR, who you will remember are the manufacturers of the guns that are essentially disposable.
Yeah.
And instead of reloading, you just sort of toss them and discard them. So I'm really interested to see how that sort of design approach of the manufacturer TDR is applied to an exosuit, but part of it is that he will be able to generate his own weapons, so like arm blades and things like that. So,
it destructs his like various action skill things. Bit harder to cosplay, I reckon.
Yes.
Holographic or whatever, like blade arms.
But I wouldn't put it past them, Jane.
Nah.
They're capable of
They'll
amazing
find a way.
things. I'm quite excited about this and mobility in general in this game, because one of the things I really liked about Borderlands, the pre-sequel, was the kind of zero-G, like low gravity, leaping about.
And you could do a double jump in the pre-sequel, but it consumed oxygen, so that doesn't count. Yeah.
But I like the idea that they're taking some of that additional mobility and including things like dashes and slides and grapples and things like that.
You've got a grapple to like point to point, and you've got, like you say, the dash, you've got a slide, you've got swimming. So no longer is water deadly, lethal water. You can actually go for a swim, which is great. And I think the combination of like mobility options, for one, it's like, obviously it's about traversal in an open world, and it lets you do kind of like platformy thingies as you get around, but also obviously it's for chaining together in combat and looking really slick.
There's a real flow to the combat that I think is going to be really fun to master. I mean, obviously, this being a looter shooter, you're going to be doing a lot of shooting, and the way it now flows and the ability to sort of John Wick your way through a combat encounter, I think is going to be really rewarding. So looking forward to playing a bit more of that.
That's what the game is looking for you to master.
Yes.
And we'll get there eventually.
Oh yeah, when I start, I'm going to be face planting. I'm going to be like accidentally grappling things over here.
Yeah, it's like a grapple to a slide to a dash to a double jump to a glide. Although no, actually gliding is quite like quite soft and gentle, and like gliding is better for like getting down from a height and just like looking at the open world around you. Like someone's going to like play pigeon shoot you out of the sky if you're in combat doing that. So maybe not the glide, but everything else.
Good for combat.
Good for combat. Maybe not swimming.
I don't know. Maybe you're really effective in the water. Maybe that's a perk. Yes.
You'll like this. You've got a personal customizable vehicle now.
Sweet.
So,
in real life.
And you can just, your personal customizable vehicle. Yeah. It's like that, but except it's a digi-runner and it's got guns on it, unlike your car.
Now, Jane, you're going to try and make me call it a digi-runner, but I'm going to call it a hoverbike. I'm sorry.
You can call it a
it's
hoverbike all you like.
Essentially.
And you don't have to go to like a catch-a-ride station to summon it, which I think, thank you.
As a vehicle lover, yes, it was a little bit grating to have to go to a station to get a new vehicle each time.
Now you just summon it. Yeah,
you
of course.
just destruct it, I believe is the word.
Destruct is the Borderlands verb, yeah. And of course that makes sense because you've got this like big, seamless open world. Yep. You don't want to be like just like hoofing it from A to B. You're going to need a vehicle that you can summon in an instant. Yeah,
I think it's going to be perfect for zipping around the place, checking out the new scenery, maybe running into some weird in-the-world boss encounters, which are apparently a thing now. So yeah, exciting.
Co-op is such a Borderlands thing.
Yeah.
It might be the Borderlands
I think it's the main
thing.
Borderlands thing,
Yeah, I think the longest ever like single co-op session in my entire life, and I've done MMOs, I've done this, that and the other, but like the longest like single session from end to end was like a Borderlands 2 session with 3 players playing online, and I want to say it was most of a day.
Wow.
And that's just how locked in we were and how much free time we had.
Yeah, back in the day.
Back in the day. So, of course, you've got 4-player co-op online.
Yep.
You have got couch co-op, which is 2-player split screen.
Split screen's still in there in the year of our Lord 2025.
Yeah.
Still a split screen co-op.
On your console, you can do split screen, and there's crossplay,
yes.
which I think is much less a given, but increasingly a sort of expectation.
I think so. Yeah.
I think when I want to play a game online and I'm like, does this game have crossplay? No.
Yeah.
So we're getting to a point where it is more expected, and it is there.
Yes.
Full crossplay in Borderlands 4. I think that's good times. There is also nice to hear an improved lobby system.
Nice.
For you drop in, drop out.
Well, there's also the customizable difficulty per player in co-op,
yes.
right? So
yes.
I think one of the things about co-op is that like you got to kind of organize yourselves to get a team of 4 people in particular together for co-op. You don't want any kind of obstacles, and I think what this does is removes obstacles, right? Because if someone hasn't been playing as much of the game as you have but still wants to jump in and enjoy that co-op experience, they can set their difficulty a bit lower so that they're able to play the game alongside you without kind of ruining their experience. Because we've all played those games where you're in co-op and your friend has an amazing gun that does like a ton of damage against these high-level enemies, and you're there going, my pea shooter's doing 1 damage each shot. So this is going to solve that problem entirely, and I think is going to be, like you say, removes friction to ensure that people can play together.
Mike, let me tell you about rep kits.
Yes.
Okay, so you know how in previous Borderlands games you'd have like health kits or like health vials?
Sure.
And they'd be very precious. So rep kits are new for Borderlands 4. It's an equipment item that you equip, obviously, and it's on a cooldown, but basically it gives you the option to like restore your health, and also along with some other like buffs when you need it, which is thank you, yes.
Quite often for me. I do have a tendency in Borderlands games to charge in and end up way over my head, and then I end up dying and have to use Second Wind just to get back into things. And Second Wind is still in the game, so don't worry about that. But I think this rep kit scenario is going to help me a lot.
You've still got your shield, but it's nice to know that you can play a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more assertively, because when you run out of like health items, you're not going to be like, oh no, get back.
I like the way you use the words aggressively and
that's how you play,
assertively.
is it not?
I would say in my case it's often just impatiently. Like I just want to go in and kill as many things as possible.
Yeah.
I know that about myself. I've looked inside and I've accepted that I'm just extremely impatient and want to get on to the next explosion. But yes, aggressive, assertive play I think is going to be, encouraged in this game, and I think it's going to tie into that mastery of the new mobility as well, right? You're going to be liberated to run in and try a bunch of cool moves and not have to worry too much about whether you're going to fail awfully at them.
Rep kits, a good idea, I think so. Speaking of combat, guns.
Lots of guns.
It's how we do combat.
It's how we do the combats.
Yeah. So in Borderlands, we've long been familiar with the idea of manufacturers, right? It's like a brand, an in-world brand. Different manufacturers make different flavors of gun. So the manufacturer...
Don't put them in your mouth.
Don't taste them.
Don't actually put them in your mouth.
The guns.
My God.
But do you know what I mean? In addition to the category of guns, shotgun, for example, you've got the flavor of gun, which is represented by the manufacturer.
Shotgun, for example.
Tediore is my favorite.
I love Tediore.
Both because in the fiction of the game, I love the idea of a cheap, disposable, accessible, everyman.
You can almost feel the plastickiness when you equip one.
And it's the gun brand for everyone in the fiction of the game, and as a result, they're like disposable cameras. When you run out of bullets,
just toss them.
You just throw it away. You don't need that gun anymore, and then a new one is digistructed in your hands quicker, right? So mechanically, it represents a faster reload, but also in the fiction of the game, it represents a time and a place in a world where guns are just disposable cameras, which I think is kind of fun and silly.
Yeah, satirical.
Yeah. So there are 8 manufacturers in Borderlands 4. 3 of them are new. So you've got your old face, but you've also got the Order. So these are bad guy guns made by the bad guys, but you can use them as well.
Sometimes the bad guys get the best gear though.
Sometimes they've got good guns.
They're well-funded bad guys.
Yeah.
And they've got no morals.
Speak on it, Mike.
Yeah,
preach.
A new thing is this new licensed parts system, right? So when you're collecting guns in the field, it might not just be a Tediore gun anymore. It might be a Tediore gun with a Torg barrel or stock or something like that. And Borderlands was never short of combinations of guns, but I think there's going to be even more now combinations of different firearms, because they are going to create these weird and wacky combinations of the different manufacturers. And that will be reflected, as always, in the way they operate and handle and cause damage and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it almost feels like the rarer the gun, the more likely it is that it will be a really strange hybrid of all these different manufacturers.
The higher the rarity, the more different components that can come from different manufacturers there will be. So I like to think that when you're getting a really rare drop, it might just be the weirdest combo of different manufacturers, different behaviours. So that's going to make something spicy. It might be the spiciest, weirdest, randomest gun that is perfect for you.
Yeah. Some of us love spicy. And one of the cool things is that actually the developers have admitted that perhaps rare guns were a little too common.
Legendaries, Legendaries had kind of lost their shine a little bit in Borderlands 3. Yeah.
So now there are going to be fewer legendaries, but when you get a legendary gun, it's going to feel amazing.
As well you know, Mike. Each Vault Hunter is their own class.
Yes.
Okay, and within that class they have 3 action skills, which is almost like a subclass, and within that you've got a skill tree, so it's highly customizable for your own personal build, which is a very capital B, capital T Borderlands thing. The most crucial and important thing though,
all right, I'm getting ready for it,
about the Vault Hunters in Borderlands 4 is that Vex has an action skill, which means she can summon a big cat.
Obviously the most important thing.
So Vex, who we've established is
the coolest,
my pick of the Vault Hunters. She has, under one of her action skills, the ability to summon a phase familiar, which is the aforementioned big cat, called Trouble. It's a spectral, supernatural phase energy cat, which means more purple. There's also something called a trait that a Vault Hunter has. Vex has a trait called Phase Covenant, which means that She's attuned to whichever elemental type her gun has. That means whichever elemental type the gun she's using has, her like action skill and her melee damage will do that same type of damage.
And the cat
You know what I'm
changes
saying?
colour.
And the cat changes colour. Yes.
So if you're fighting icy monsters,
And you're
you
using-
can switch to a fiery gun, and your cat will turn fiery
your cat will turn red.
and be more effective.
Yeah, so a colour changing cat, everybody. And that's just one of the action skills. So like, if you really can't stand to have a colour changing, petable, supernatural phase cat,
What kind of monster are you?
hey, it takes all sorts. Then there is also the incarnate action skill, which means you can do like a phase blast, you know, phase energy, phase blast, very good. But also comes with the ability to do like an eldritch blast,
Oh,
which
I
as
see.
a D&D warlock at hearts,
They saw you coming.
they
didn't
saw me coming from a million miles away, and
Yeah.
that's also pretty great for me.
Well, I might not be allowed to choose Vex, but at least I'll be able to see Vex in action when you're playing as
Yeah.
Vex.
You ready to be Rafa?
I'm ready to be Rafa. I'm ready to watch you pet your cat over and over again.
Actually, I don't know if you can pet the cat. That's something to find out when we play Borderlands 4.
Will Mike be able to pet the cat? You got to leave some mysteries for our
Yeah.
playthrough.
Those were the 7 things that we can't wait to see in Borderlands 4 when we get playing it. It comes out on the 12th of September, and for more details, check the description of this video. Brought to you by us and sponsor 2K Games.